Hello. So I wanted to do a little short video about people pleasing because it is a subconscious program, although it's becoming much more conscious for us now because the subconscious realm, the astral plane, the plane that's held all of those collective subconscious beliefs that have been ingrained within us, passed on from generation to generation. That realm has collapsed now. And it means that we're being faced with these programs that used to be really hidden deep down. Now they're just there in front of us and they're being mirrored back to us in so many situations. And often when it's being mirrored back to us, we may end up feeling bad about something and then projecting that onto the other person and creating a story to really disown those feelings, right? And project them onto another. Now, we don't do that consciously. This is subconscious, really. This is like a reaction when a wound is being hit, when a program is being triggered. So I've been just seeing this program so much recently, in my own life as well. I observe it in my own life, and I've done a lot of healing on this program. This program, people pleasing, came into my view consciously maybe in 2018, something like that. I can't fully remember, but prior to that I had no idea that I was a people pleaser. Just wasn't aware of it, because that's how subconscious programs work. Because they've been programmed into us as children, then we don't even realize that they are impacting our lives. But when we are people pleasing, often what we're doing, what it's actually saying is, it's saying that everybody else matters ahead of us. Everyone else's needs are more important than us. So it starts to reinforce a belief that we are also programmed to believe as children, that we are not good enough. So it just reinforces that belief. You do not matter. You are not important. You are not good enough. Everybody else's needs matter more than yours, right? And this started coming to my consciousness as well, that if we're all pleasing each other, if I'm pleasing you and you're pleasing the person next to you and they're pleasing the person that's in, then who's happy in this situation, right? The truth is, nobody's happy when we are doing things from a program of people pleasing, because that program of people pleasing is really there to protect us as children from feeling rejection, from feeling abandoned, from feeling unloved. We start to learn to please adults, people in authority, because when we do that, we get love, we don't get rejected, we don't get punished. And when we don't do that, often it's withheld from us. We go through some kind of a negative experience, something that doesn't feel good. So we learn how to please adults in order to adapt through that time. So it's a really adaptive behaviour as a child. We don't really have much choice on it, to be honest. This is happening really outside of our conscious consent. And it's not because adults are trying to harm us or hurt us, it's because they are also programmed with the same subconscious programs. And when we don't know that we have a program, then we're just going to unconsciously pass it on to everybody that we interact with, right? And we will have done the same as adults to other people in our lives as well. But as soon as we start to see it and it comes into our awareness, well, we can start to heal it and we can start to dissolve it. So I've just been seeing this everywhere lately. I've had so many friends and family talk to me about certain things, clients talk to me about things where they've talked about an experience with somebody, and perhaps they've gone out of their way to do something for somebody, and then felt that their time wasn't respected. And really, when you actually start to examine these situations, what we start to see is that in that experience, we have disrespected ourselves, right? We have disrespected ourselves to thinking that we were pleasing other by doing something, and then when we haven't got the response that we expected, we felt mad. But really the anger is at ourselves for disrespecting ourselves, for putting ourselves last. So it's happening in my life as well. I'm about to do something that is honestly is a dream come true for me. It is some work that I am so excited to do on many different levels. And it's something that came into my consciousness back in 2016, 17, but at the time it wasn't the right time. I just knew somewhere it would be on my path, and here it just came in, and it seemed to just come in out of nowhere. So it's not something, and this is when we know, like, you're aligning with destined points, things on your destined path, right? Because these things often just come in out of nowhere, and it starts to happen very quickly. That was the same for me when I got the idea to go traveling at the beginning of this year to Central America. And when I mentioned it to my friend, she was like, yes, let's do it. Within 6 months we were doing it. For 7 weeks I've got a house, I've got cats, but everything just aligned and fell into place. I just had this trust that I was meant to do it. I knew I was meant to do it. I didn't understand why I was meant to do it fully at all. I just knew that it was aligned for me at that time. There were many different reasons why I was doing it, and it all just fell into place easily, and before you know it, I'm traveling through Central America, and something's come up again for me. And I've just said yes because I knew I needed to say yes. Now, if I'd have gone into my mind, I would have said no, because I'd have been like, oh, I don't have the money to do this, I don't have this, I don't have that, I can't do this, I can't do that, and I would have said no. But I didn't even go there because I just knew, again, it was something that I was meant to do. I'm very tuned into my guidance now because of all the healing work that I've done. The more we heal, the more we reconnect with the soul, the more we open up those passageways, right? And we tune in with our guidance, and we know when we're being led somewhere. I'm not saying it doesn't always feel a little bit scary though, because we are going into the unknown. So something's come up for me recently that, I said yes to because I knew it was for me. And then having a conversation with someone that I really respect, and they made their, I don't know where it came from really, but they started talking about the thing that I'm going to be doing. Even though I hadn't yet actually told them that I was going to be doing this thing. And they started talking about it, and really talking about it in a real negative way, or at least that is the way I was perceiving it, right? I was perceiving that they were talking about it in a negative way, and they were saying it wasn't right, it wasn't wrong, it was a spiritual bypass. And I was like, feeling really awkward, feeling a little bit like, ooh, okay, and feeling guilt. I just could feel all these feelings of guilt, like I was doing something wrong, because this other person didn't agree with what I was doing, even though she wasn't necessarily saying, she wasn't saying, oh, I know you're doing this, and because I hadn't actually even got a chance to say, because I just basically signed up for it myself. But that was towards the end of the conversation, and at the time I didn't really say anything, because so I want you to just reflect. If this is bringing something up for you, where you've been in a similar situation recently, where you're about to do something for yourself, make a decision that is in alignment with yourself, that's going to make you happy, that's going to bring growth into your life, and perhaps you've been having a conversation, and perhaps someone's said something where you realise they don't agree with it, and perhaps you respect this person, and you feel this. So I was in this experience, right, and I'm feeling 14:14 on the clock. I'm feeling like this guilt come up. So at the time of having the conversation, this happens to me often, right? I'm outside of my body, observing myself having this conversation, and I'm in the body, observing the feelings that are coming up while I'm having this conversation, realizing that wounds are being triggered inside of the body. So at the time, what do? I don't react. One, because I'm just a bit like, just curious about all the feelings that are coming up in my body. Like, why am I feeling this? I'm feeling curious about it. So I allow her to say what she says about it, and I don't really say anything, right? I just allow her to say how she feels about it, right? And then, not long after that, we end the call, and afterwards I'm reflecting, and I'm like, hell, why didn't I say anything? Why didn't I just say, this is what I'm doing? I'm a grown woman, right? I'm a grown woman. I can do what I want, right? And I'm like, why didn't I say anything? What was I feeling? I was reflecting. I was feeling guilt. I was feeling like, because she didn't agree with it, or had all these negative connotations about it, that I felt like I was doing something wrong. And as I started to really dig down on it, I started to realise, because I thought, do I feel like I'm doing something wrong? Well, the answer to that was no. I know I'm not doing anything wrong. I absolutely know that this is meant for me, right? This is something that I am contracted to do, that I contracted to do before I came into this body. I know this, so I realised, no, it's not guilt about feeling like I've done something, that I'm doing something wrong or bad. And as I really dug down, I realised that it was like this people pleasing. It was like I didn't want to disappoint her. I didn't want to disappoint. I didn't want to feel. I was scared of being judged. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be judged. And I thought, and it wasn't just a judgment. I was like, I'm going to be rejected. She's going to reject me because of this. Like, because I'm stepping fully into my true, authentic self, who I am, and I'm following the things that are right for me, that I'm being guided to do, that I know that I'm here to do. I know it in my body, right? And I'm feeling that I'm going to get judged for that, and I'm feeling that I'm going to get rejected because of it. So this goes back to this deep down is that people pleasing program. So I realised, there's a few more layers to that, because this is what happens, guys, when we're healing. These programs are deep. They're deep. They go through generations, lifetimes, different dimensions, different levels. They're in that ancestral line. And we're right now, if you're watching this video, you are likely a soul that came in to really heal a lot of that trauma, a lot of those programs, a lot of those negatively seeded programs out of your ancestral lineage. So you might have been carrying a lot as soon as you came into this life to transmute, but just know that you can do it, and that's why you agreed to do it. So I could see really there was another layer of that coming up, and it made me think, wow, how amazing that I said yes to this, because saying yes to this is just healing me on an even deeper level. And there's so many amazing things that are coming in for me because I said yes to this as well. And this is just one of the aspects that it gives me a opportunity to heal and work with, and to really see the truth of how I'm feeling. And the truth is, what I did in that moment after that conversation is, okay, I didn't have all this. After that conversation, instantly what I did was projected it onto the person that was saying those things to me, right? I was like making up a story in my own mind about it that wasn't taking full responsibility for how I was feeling about that interaction, right? I was projecting those feelings of guilt, of shame, of uncomfortableness, of disappointment, of rejection, of abandonment onto that person, and giving a story as to why that was brought to me, right? And then thankfully I've got some really good friends, right, that are in this healing space with me, that are just like me, that understand that we are accountable for what we feel, right? And when if we put that onto another, we're giving away our power, and we're becoming victims, right? And we cannot heal. And she instantly mirrored it back to me. She's a mirror for me. She instantly really gave me a new perspective on it, which I knew as soon as she said it was the truth. I already knew it was the truth. I was just trying to push myself away from having to deal with all those uncomfortable feelings, and that's okay, because we are human, and we do that at times, right? When something difficult comes up, when we're being triggered with things, this is why I didn't react in the moment. I often don't react in the moment when something really challenging or uncomfortable is coming up, because if I react in the moment, I'm going to react from an emotion, from a wound. I'm not going to react from a place of centeredness, from a place of soul, from a place of truth. So I find it very easy in those moments to not say something if I need to process something, right? So that's why I didn't move straight into defense or justification. I just allowed her to say what she said and didn't really say anything. Not in a weird kind of a way, but just in a way of, okay, I'm processing what you're saying. Or maybe she did think it was weird. I don't know. Who knows? But it's all good, right? And I allow myself that space to reflect. And I instantly saw what I was doing, right? I instantly saw I was projecting a story, telling myself a story to make her accountable for the way that I was feeling. And that wasn't the truth. So I've taken that back and realised, okay, it's just showing me that there's still parts that I need to heal. And that is, it just actually just in that acknowledgement, it starts to heal, right? It starts to release. And because you start to realise that, what is being said to you is, I just need to have an open and honest and vulnerable conversation, right? So this is what I'm doing, right? This is for me, this is what I'm doing. I don't need to justify myself to people. So I've realised that as well, in this saying yes to what I'm doing. So perhaps you can see yourself in what I'm in. I'm really being guided to talk to you about this experience so that you can mirror it back into your own experiences, where perhaps somewhere you're being triggered lately, and if you move back down to it, have you put a story onto that person, and really is it about this people pleasing, this worry that we feel like we've got to justify ourselves, right? And I was asking myself, I don't need to justify myself to other people. If I trust myself, and again my friend mirrored this to me, she's like it's about that trust that we've been talking about, and I'm like, you're right, it is about trust, because right now I'm really being asked to trust and surrender into the divine plan of what is unfolding for myself, and I'm really moving into this space of the unknown, and it can feel a little scary at times, and you can wonder whether you're going to be supported, but I know that I am, and I know that I'm on the right path. This is something I know because I've done the work. Basically, I've been doing the work. I know this, my channel is open, but the divine, there's always an element of faith and trust. In fact, that is there purposely, so that we can really cultivate that faith and trust in ourselves, in our own power, in our own ability. So I realised it was asking me to move into deeper trust, to be able to know when I know something is for me, and when I'm in that trust for myself, that I stand in my integrity and I don't allow other people's judgments or because we have to all know that we all have different filters going on, we've all have different experiences in this life, and no one can really tell you what is for you. Only you can discern that by going inwards and connecting to your own self and your own guides. And other people may think that they know what is best for you because of their own experience, and often people aren't doing that because they want to harm you. Often, sometimes that is the case. Sometimes people are manipulative, but again, when you dig down on the manipulations, it's coming from wounds. It's coming from wounds from past trauma. So not to excuse it, but to understand it and have compassion for it. Often it is the wounded, and we've all tread our own paths, and it's often friends and family, people they just want to protect you, right? But often as well, what they're doing is projecting their fears onto you as well, right? And often if they are projecting it and you're feeling it, it's because you've got those fears inside your body. So I could see that there's been so many moments with so many things that have happened due to this choice that I've made. And what other people have thought about it and their opinions on it, and and their fears, and they've been quite open with that. I fear this fear, inside some of what they've said is the stuff that I've feared for myself as well. So it's been a great mirror, and I really appreciate it. It's allowed me to really look deep inside and see those layers and really discern what is for me, and realise I don't have to justify myself as long as I trust myself, and I do trust myself, and that trust has increased because of these mirrors and lessons that I've been going through from this one decision that I made. So be aware in your life right now. Look in your life, see where are you pleasing somebody, and then because you're then doing something that is out of it's not to say that we can't do something that it's not to say that we can't do something that is lovely for someone we love or care for, right? No, it's when we are really overriding our own needs and our own values, right? We're really putting ourselves out for someone, and rearranging something that we were doing for ourselves, which we needed to do for ourselves, which was loving for ourselves, and we're putting ourselves aside, and when we're doing it on a regular basis, putting ourselves aside to please someone else. Because when we look at it, why are we doing it? Because because then what's going to happen is they're not going to appreciate that level of you putting yourself out, right? Or you're going to feel, it's not that they don't appreciate it, so you're going to feel that they don't appreciate, that they take you for granted, that they take advantage of your kind nature and stuff. But when you look at it, it's you are the one that's doing that to yourself. You are the one that, if you're doing something for another, do it because you want to do it. Don't do it because you're expecting something back from them. Do it because you want to do it from a place of love. If you're doing it in an expectation of getting something back, then you're not doing it from a place of love. You're doing it from a place of people pleasing. which is fine, right? We all do it. So if we realise we're pleasing someone in our lives, so that we don't feel rejected, so that we can feel loved, so that we can feel valued, then it's just an opportunity for us to see, okay, to look at ourselves. Well, where am I not loving myself? Where am I not valuing myself? Where am I not respecting myself? And we can start to take back our power. Then we can have compassion and love for ourselves and understand this is a deeply seated program, and it wasn't your fault when you received this program. It's a collective program, but it is our responsibility now to heal it and not to project it onto another that we are trying to please, right? As we start to take control of that, then we don't project it onto another, and we start to heal those emotions. Because when we are projecting, be that anger, be it any emotion, and making up a story to attach to another person, which is usually not the truth, right? I ask you to think about what you're doing in your life now, where you're projecting a story into someone to justify how you feel about things, and ask yourself, is that really truth, or is that just a story? Often we make up those negative stories to go with those feelings, so we don't have to be responsible for those feelings and be accountable for how we feel and for processing those feelings. Instead, we project them. When we project them, actually what we do is we suppress them into our body. So it means there's going to be more experience that are drawn to us to really bring those, because those feelings are wanting to come out and be emoted through the body. So, and because we are these vibratory beings, then our feelings are vibrating. If emotions are stuck in, then whatever that emotion is, if there's an anger emotion stuck in the body, like I said, it's going to draw to us situations that are going to trigger that anger, that are going to reflect that vibration. And it's not there to punish us, it's there as a mirror, because the world around us is a holographic mirror. So it's there for us to actually be able to see it and heal it. But if we keep projecting it onto another rather than taking responsibility, then it doesn't go. So I'm going to leave it there, because I feel like I'm just making this longer than it needs to be. People pleasing, acknowledge it in your life, see it in your life, bring it into your awareness. Be curious about the interactions that you have where you're saying yes to something, or someone's saying something that you do, but you don't feel like you can then say that you're doing it because you feel guilty, you feel bad, you feel that you're going to be judged, you feel like these are the people pleasing, these are layers of that coming up. Be curious about it, and then spend some time reflecting on why you feel that way, and allow yourself to go through that healing of letting those emotions move through your body, and ask yourself, is this somewhere in your body that you're not trusting about what you are doing? It's going to make you really reflect on that, and we can start to make different choices for ourselves. We can start to you're going to have plenty of experiences. We all have plenty of experiences where people pleasing comes up, where we're going to have an opportunity to put ourselves first, speak our truth, and we don't have to do that with any kind of defensiveness or any kind of anger. We can just do it from a place of centeredness. And knowing as we do that, as we stand in our truth, then we are dissolving those programs. We're not just dissolving people pleasing, we're dissolving the program that says, I do not matter, I am not important, my needs don't matter, I am not seen, I am not heard, I am not respected, I am not enough. You're dissolving all of those